Gaming is about escaping into another world. You don't control the character, you are the character.
Whether I'm hunting fearsome monsters or growing the best crops, gaming is how I like to relax.
I like gaming because I can go you know?
They help me escape into a world of pure imagination. Video games. What more could you ask for? Endless possibilities.
Hey, yo! What to do, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Off Hunting. I am your boy, Jojo.
I'm DiggsGaming.
KB hunting.
And today, man, I've been waiting down on this, like the Super Bowl. And it's funny that I bring up the Super Bowl because today is about sports gaming. Now, personally, I am a former athlete, two-time rec MVP, high school varsity volleyball player, and also a track and field athlete as well. I don't know
I'm
if
a
you
former
guys.
athlete as well, Joe. I played football 3 years of high school, and I also did wrestling my senior years. So I've been waiting to talk about this too.
Oh yeah,
I don't sport.
and we're in a podcast called Off Hunting. I love this.
Mhm.
I was gonna kind of start the podcast just short and sweet, like just kind of like talking about sports in general, because like I know like it's more like these are like the sports gaming community has like so many things ethically that could be like but I wanted to kind of start the podcasting up, like if you guys like ever watch the Olympic Games, or if you like watch sports in general, like who's your favorite athlete? Personally, I'll probably start with myself there. My favorite athlete of all time. This is kind of like a split because I have one for every sport. So like basketball, Kobe Bryant. I grew up with Kobe. That's my dude. Like when he died, like I shed real tears. That was my man's.
That was tough.
That was literally one of the toughest like losses. It does not just for like me as a like losing hero, but for the entire world. They lost a true champion. In baseball, it's legitimately Brooks Robinson. I'm a diehard O's fan. Not a lot of people are, which is sad. It's literally just like the local fan base at this point. And like Brooks just showed a lot of class. It's the last of the class. Like you don't really get a lot of players like that anymore. And then with like football, probably Ray Lewis. Like that man had heart. If it wasn't Ray Lewis, it'd be Ed Reed. Like that was my guy. But the person I compare myself to the most be Tony Gonzalez, man. That man had more heart than anybody in the Kansas City Chiefs organization. Period. DiggsGaming. Tell me about your favorite athlete, man.
Okay. I'm gonna kind of jump off of what you did. Well, for me, I'm going to start with baseball. My favorite athlete in baseball is going to be Brian Roberts. He was one of the first baseball players I ever really watched. And the things that he did as an Oriole, I really respected Brian Roberts. I really liked watching him play. He was just a really good player to watch, really good guy to follow. I really liked Brian. Really the first baseball player I actually paid attention to.
I got a signature once on a baseball.
Nice.
Got there super early. One
Nice.
of the only dudes to sign my baseball. It was cool. Cool dude, honestly. Overall, like I'm kind of bouncing back at like what you said. Like, dude, Brian Roberts, like, despite his career ending, like kind of like the late 2000s, early 2010, like dude was a humble dude. Like from like the next generation of pitchers, like the one person that legitimately reminds me of Brian Roberts, even though he's not like the same kind of pitching position, is Zach Britton. Like the man's just humble. He'll do stuff. He'll do community outreach. Like he has a
Roberts wasn't a pitcher.
Brian Roberts?
Yeah, he wasn't a pitcher.
I thought he was no, I'm pretty sure he was a pitcher.
No, he wasn't a pitcher.
Wait, hold on. What? Which Brian Roberts are we talking about?
I'm talking about the one that played for the Orioles. Which one are you talking about?
I thought he was a pitcher.
No.
What position was he?
I'm pretty sure it was first base. Let me look it up.
I could have sworn he was a pitcher.
Second baseman. Sorry. Second baseman.
Oh, okay. I'm thinking of the wrong Brian Roberts then.
Yeah, I'm thinking of the one that played for the Orioles. I'm thinking of the one that played for the Orioles up until 2013.
That's on me. That's on me.
I'm thinking of the second baseman. You're thinking of a different one.
I'm thinking of a different Robert. I'm thinking
Anyway,
of a whole different dude.
back to what I was talking about. Anybody that knows me knows I love football. I have my own YouTube channel where I talk about football exclusively. And my favorite football player of all time, just like you, Jojo, Ray Lewis. I mean, he was the heart and soul of that Ravens team since the Ravens were there. He was drafted in 1996. He was their second ever draft pick. One of the best middle linebackers of all time. First ballot Hall of Famer. And the way that he played on the field, man, it was just fun watching him play. And the fact that he got to end his career as a champion, that's just a cherry on top.
Oh, dude.
The defenses that he was a part of, that he led, oh my God. You're never going to see another player and leader like Ray. You never will.
That 2012 team was that 2011-2012 team was the truth. We did, yeah, like that. He had such a great supporting cast that year. Like they had Bernard Pollard, they had Paul Kruger, Joe Flacco was elite at the time, and then
especially in that playoff run. I mean, that playoff run, he had 11 touchdowns, 0 interceptions.
The miracle run. That really what I refer to as the miracle run, because there was a lot of close calls that playoffs.
Oh yeah,
that playoff series. Also, you can't forget. Like we had Kobe Jones, we had Torrey Smith. We still had. Yeah, dude, his birthday actually just passed. And I know. Like, yeah, we gotta clap it up for Torrey. And Anquan Bolden. Can't forget about Anquan Bolden or Ed Reed. If I forget to mention Ed Reed, the spirit of Ed Reed's football ghost will literally haunt me.
Another first down Hall of Famer there. But right now, my favorite current player right now, I'm going to go Lamar. You know,
Lamar.
I mean, the things that he can do on the football field, I'm a big Louisville fan. So I was watching him at Louisville, and I'm just saying, man, this guy is really, really good. And I remember the draft process where people kept telling him, you might want to switch positions. And I just kept saying, what the heck are these guys watching? I mean, seriously, this guy, he may be a great athlete, but he is a really good quarterback. The throws that he made at Louisville, I mean, they were throws some NFL young quarterbacks couldn't make. He could make a lot of throws that you would not think twice about him being a quarterback in the NFL.
No, it's not even that. Like, you'll once in a generation, you'll get like a actual mobile quarterback that can get the job done. And I see it with like every decade. Like in the 80s and the 90s, you had Dan Marino. In like the late 90s.
And don't forget about Randall Cunningham too.
I would never forget about Randall Cunningham. He's the man. He's the true mobile quarterback. That was like the man that put mobile quarterbacks on the map. But
and the things that he did for Minnesota in '98. I mean,
I would probably like go more along the lines of what he did for the city of Philly.
I know,
like that man put them on the map. Like he was a threat. But like when it comes to like more like the modern day and everything, I mean, he was still very prolific. And then like you had like kids like Dan Marino coming out. You had the Michael Vick era, like you had Michael Vick showing out and literally looking like a whole cheat code. And then like as like the draft years went by, I mean, Brett Favre wasn't a mobile quarterback, but who came after Brett Favre? Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers really reset the tone. Like as Stephen A. Smith really says, man, he's a bad man. And then,
nobody takes Stephen A. Smith seriously. So when
no one takes the reason for that is because he supports the New York Knicks, and I'm not even BSing you on that. And then now we got Lamar Jackson, and Lamar Jackson, despite his slow start into getting his throwing situation right, which I can't blame him. We don't really have a receiving core. He's making it work.
Yeah,
he is making it work with a lackluster offensive line, with
especially on the interior. The bookends are fine, but that interior needs to be worked on. That needs to be worked.
Finally got a good running back. like not to doubt any, not to take away any credit from Gus, not to take any credit away from Kenneth Dixon, but he got like a good like fresh rookie starting running back, and then you got like we're still trying to figure out the tight end thing. Mark Andrews he's good, but like he still has some work to do. Like Dennis Pitta could like get. I'm not going to talk about Dennis Pitta. Todd Heat was the truth. I'm going to tell you that. Yeah. But like with a little bit of development, we could have one of the best offenses in the league. Not to mention that we're already one of them because Lamar Jackson goes out and does his thing and puts it on for the team every night. But
he's essentially leading that off. He's essentially leading that offense by himself. He really is.
But was it the second year? He just got like the second year in a row, like setting the bar for rushing yards.
Pretty much.
What a guy!
I know.
Not to mention with the Bills.
And KV's looking at us going, okay, when are we going to get to the actual games?
Gaming. Yeah.
All right.
Just like the kind of like a closing.
Let's move on. Let's move on because
let me just do a closing thought real quick. Like, just based on what like Lamar Jackson, we all saw most of us saw the playoff game against the Bills, and then Lamar Jackson like getting that concussion, and that was like the down point spiral of that playoff game. But what happened was after the game, what the Bills fans did. Oh yeah, literally, 24 hours. I think it was like what 250,000 donated to Lamar's charity,
something like that.
This is what I'm going to say about that. The Bills fans, because of that, I am now a fan of Bills fans. I'm not going to say a fan of the Bills, but I'm going to say a fan of Bills fans. Why? Because that's a different level of class that is shown in today's NFL.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that really is.
You don't get fans or players like that. Like, they raised about like $1 million+ toward his organization and wished him to get better. Not even the Steelers show us that much remorse. Like, it's like those are like for now on, they got a close spot in my heart. Like, come on, like if you're gonna donate that much money of your own money and raise it for charity.
Bills fans are one of the most respected fans in the NFL because of what they've done because of what they do. I was rooting for them. They really are a good fan base, and
they're a great fan base. And honestly, Bills fans, if y'all are ever listening, I wish you guys the best of luck next year. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart because y'all have been long overdue and rejected for well over a decade now. And I cannot wait to see you guys back in the Super Bowl. Honestly, it's been a while. I would love to see them back in the Super Bowl.
I would too.
In relation to gaming, sports gaming community has been here since the early days, since modern graphics has been kind of like starting to evolve, and even before that, with just kind of like 2-bit pixels. When it comes to sports gaming, if you guys do play it, what's your favorite game that ever came out for like a sports game? And I know that's like a tough question because it's kind of like copy paste.
Well, we're not just talking licensed games. We're not just talking like NBA 2K or the Madden series. We're talking any sports games in general. Right. For me, you've heard of the Hot Shots Golf series, right?
Yeah.
Hot Shots Golf 3 for me. I remember playing that on a demo disc, on a PlayStation 2 demo disc, and then about a few years later, I found the game, and then I started playing it, and I fell in love with it because characters were goofy, it was a lot of fun to play, and it was a lot of time to just calm down and just reset my thoughts. It really was a fun game for me to play, and I have a lot of memories playing it, and I still play it every now and then. So that really is my favorite sports games.
I play Wii Sports.
Yeah. Was it Wii Sports or Wii Sports Resort?
Wii Sports Resort. We have
sword fighting
during family game nights, or like if we pre-COVID had like a game night, we would always have like a bowling competition or an archery competition is kind of like our go-to. But
my personal
I have a younger brother,
so
yeah,
my favorite Wii Sports games, the sword fighting ones, and probably the archery are my favorites personally.
Oh yeah, I love.
Oh yeah, that was fun. That was fun doing the archery. That really was.
Yeah.
Sundown Showdown. I felt like a full samurai going chopping through them. And like really just like having to execute everything I learned from just doing Duel. That was like one of my favorite ones. When it comes to sports games, I mean, I am a basketball guy. I've been playing NBA 2K, Madden, even FIFA for like the longest time. But like, we can't leave out racing games. And I'm not like, I know most people are really probably gonna think NASCAR, but you gotta remember the old days of cruising USA on the 64. Personally, for me, it was San Francisco Rush 2049 for the 64. I still play this game. I still own it and my 64 to this day. And it wasn't just for like the races and the fact that you could have wings spread out of your car and glide and do tricks and everything, but it was because you had like a stunt mode, and it wasn't just racing. It made it more than racing. And then of course you had like a battle mode on it. It had a heat seeker, had a sonic boom gun, and a battering ram. Like, you had an invisibility coin in there. You had a battering ram. You snuck up and got people good. Not to mention the plasma balls of death. That was my I got people good with those. It was a treasurable moment. It's like one of the small games me and my brother bonded on, aside from MX Unleashed for the Xbox, the original Xbox and the PlayStation 2. Motocross games, man, they're slept on, and honestly, they were never nothing was ever as good as MX Unleashed. And just like any skateboarding game was not better than Tony Hawk Underground or Underground 2. Personal thought on that. But speaking of sports games from back in the day to now, how do you guys think that the evolution of sports games has come? Has it been a positive experience because of the graphics, or has it been more of a deterioration because of what comes along with the graphics, like the gameplay, like the storylines, or just the overall control layouts of the games?
I'll let you guys go first, and then I'll finish it, because I got a lot of strong opinions about this. So I'll let you guys go first.
I mean, DiggsGaming and I were talking a little bit before we started recording about how instead of doing it every single year and having it just be the latest players, if they just for every new generation console instead, and had, just updating the graphics, updating the control scheme, would probably be better. Just because they're not adding any new like game modes at all. Like, I think it would be hilarious like if they added like an anti-gravity mode where everything just like, is crazy but right now it's same old.
Yeah, kind of like copy paste. Like, my whole consensus on it is like, especially with like the big games like NFL, with like Madden, the games like Madden, FIFA, NBA 2K. It's really copy paste, and they upgrade the graphics every year. They kind of like tweak things up, but especially with like NBA 2K, like they never tweak it up enough. Like, for me, like the best one came back in 2016. Like, the best like one that was good was 2K16, and not just because of like, even because of story mode. It was just because the control layout was perfect. It was like, it wasn't too overpowering for some guards, for some positions that you could play. It wasn't overpowering. It was a well-balanced game, and I don't know why they went downhill and had to mess it up. I don't know. There's a lot of 2K fans out there that feel the same way, and it's stressing. It's stressing, and I feel a lot of it has to do with microtransactions being introduced, because like most of your players, they're just an average Joe college student working 9 to 5s. Like, they're not making that much money unless they're doing putting bets up with friends, like, and trying to get that extra dough for virtual currency and everything. And I know they're going to release a game every year because it's a business, but at the same time, like, if you're not going to fix the things that are supposed to be making your game good, what is the actual point?
Right.
Like, you're just kind of suckering people for cash. You're worse than beggars at that point. Like,
I mean, that's kind of what EA does, though.
We all know my beef with EA.
We all know gamers beef with EA. We all
that's basic.
I mean, that's pretty much gamers. If you're a gamer, you hate EA. because of all the things that they've done over the years. I mean, in the last decade, EA's basically sunk their reputation so low. I don't think they're ever going to be able to climb out of it.
Especially after getting rid of Dead Space. Cannot say that enough. Man, I'm a whole Dead Space fan. It's not even their fault. It's my friends.
Fan, but I haven't gotten Sims 4 yet, and I probably
won't. It's actually
won't.
really good.
It looks fun, but Sims 3 is better.
Yeah, no,
don't forget what happened with Sim City. Let's not forget that either. I mean,
I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, that was just a mistake from the start.
I bought Sim City.
Why'd
you have to say that?
Okay,
it's okay.
So,
it's okay. It's not fun.
Okay, so here's my thought on the evolution of sports games, specifically the licensed games. I see them as going from the Star Wars original trilogy to the Star Wars prequel trilogy, where the graphics may have gotten better, but everything else has pretty much suffered.
Excuse me, sir. Let's not compare them to the prequel trilogy. Let's compare them to the Disney trilogy.
Okay, that's fair.
Let's be real. The prequel trilogy spawned nothing but absolutely phenomenal and fantastic memes. And if we all know anything about this podcast, we are all for the memes.
Yes.
And we have the high ground.
Okay, true. But
I'm sorry, I had to put that in there.
But I'm just saying the graphics may be getting better and better, but what good does that do when the games just are the same every single year with maybe a few tweaks here and there? And it really is annoying when you talk about having a game released every year, because it's everything that gamers hate about that. The fact that it's a strict deadline, the fact that there is going to be crunch, the fact that there's going to be glitches at launch.
And bad ones.
Exactly. It's just annoying that we know these things are going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And really, the games have suffered. And I was just looking at the Metacritic user score for Madden 21. I already talked to KB about this. Jojo, you know what the score is, right? For the user score.
I have a pretty good guess.
Okay, what's your guess?
Wait, we're talking about Madden 21?
Madden 21.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go probably like a solid 3.
Okay, it's 0.2 out of 10.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. I can fully get behind that.
Yeah. So now gamers are really
the title screen's glitchy, man. The title screen is glitchy.
I didn't even get the game.
Bad.
You know, I used to get the Madden series all the time.
So I'm gonna let you know, DiggsGaming. I'm gonna let you know. Like, so Madden 21, they did do something a little different. They added a mode that we never really seen before. That you can make your own guy, and you can do kind of like pick up 7v7s. But you could play like any position. Like that alone, I mean, you can even do it like from your phone and everything. Which like they kind of added like that cross-platform compatibility and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But in my opinion, they're really going the wrong way with the whole cross-compatibility thing. They really are. Like I'm gonna bring up Dead by Daylight because it's a really good example. For anyone that's on a console, you can play with people on PC. Like you can play in like cross-platform lobbies. Same thing with Rocket League. And you can not just play with like PC on there. You can also play with like people on PlayStation 4, on Switch. It's a really good way to do cross-platform. And the way that EA and 2K Games is doing it is completely wrong. They need to like really expand their horizon because they have the apps on the phone. You can do your face scans and everything, yada yada yada. But it's not good when you're getting to a title screen and you can barely make your way to the mode you want to play because the amount of glitches that are in the title screen alone, that's like and then on top of that, like I was talking about, microtransactions to get what the people that you want to get. It's a nefarious scheme that is surely coming to light. And I love that people are now starting to like take notice of it.
Mm-hmm.
Because like we're now seeing, and especially with like suits and everything, we're now seeing like lawsuits on like companies like great companies like CD Projekt Red for Cyberpunk, and now all of a sudden like GameStop is like a Fortune 500 company, like stuff that.
But that was more to just screw over the rich people than
Oh yeah, I mean, no doubt about it. But
It's
like at the same time,
Still A plus.
man, people were making like a lot of money and good for. I actually know some people that did.
Yeah.
But like at the kind of like point I'm trying to get across here is it's like if people are gonna storm CD Projekt Red's gates off of releasing a super glitchy game, one way or another, the EA 2K they're gonna have to wash their backs.
Yeah.
Because we're expecting a higher bar, especially with these next gen consoles coming out. Like so far they're doing good, but at the same time, at day one of the launch for the current year, yes, you should have your team for that, but you should already be having people working on the next game and looking at the glitches and pre-coding that, so that way you at least have a foundation. That way you don't have to worry about that crunch that DiggsGaming was talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Have people work earlier. That way you're not rushing the gun. It is textbook time management. But
Right.
somehow they never get it every year. I mean, the only saving grace EA really has going for them right now, despite the microtransactions, is FIFA. Because every year they get a great game. It's the same thing every year, but I mean, soccer is soccer, football, and somehow, some way that it gets a little bit better every year. And like I have friends that are diehard FIFA fans because of it. It's great.
Let me ask you guys something. The Madden has the exclusive deal with the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys think when the NFL signed that exclusive deal with EA, that pretty much sealed Madden's fate of not getting any better and just being
gotten lazy? Yeah. They kind of got lazy about it, and now that the NFL is like kind of in a jam. But honestly, if the NFL was smart, a lot of the NFL fan base, even if they don't watch the game or get gear from the exclusive websites and everything, Madden's their ticket, so they could really kind of like get with the people that made the contract, and they could really kind of like, hey, look, they have one or two options, because in my opinion, the last EA football game that was great that they made was NCAA Football 14. And the reason they stopped making that, we all know the reason they stopped making that was because college players wanted to get paid for it. But like, you're already getting a scholarship to play college football. You're not at the pro level yet. We're making this for college fans. But at the same, like getting back to like with the professional leagues and everything, Madden really has to step up their game, not just because of the fans, but because of their association and affiliated tie with the NFL. They really got to straighten up. It's because you're not just letting down gamers, you're letting down fans. And I know there's fans that like the game and they'll tolerate it and go with the flow, but there are some of us that want it to be the best that it can be, and they kind of look like they're doing it from an elementary school level. And it's the ugly truth.
Yeah, I mean, when they signed that exclusive deal, that meant no competition for EA in their Madden series. The reason they signed that exclusive deal was because when I think it was NFL 2K5 was released, that was one of the best American football games.
I remember when
and
they were 2K.
EA got worried, and once EA got worried, they signed the exclusive deal, and gamers knew that it was probably not going to end well, and they were right. Because with no competition, they have no reason to keep making better games because they know it's going to sell no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
Like business wise, this could be wrong, this could be right, but in my actual opinion, 2K had been proven to make better graphic games with better control schemes than EA when it comes to big American sports. And I'm not saying that like soccer isn't a big American sport. They just don't get the great publicity that they get in Europe. Just because like that's kind of like America's kind of like where retired European players go to die, or retiring players go to die. But when 2K made Madden, it was fun. They really, and this is like I'm gonna kind of quote the founder on this, but like with 2K is smart because it is a dog eat dog world out there. 2K should try to like at least get in contact with the NFL and try to see when that contract, the exclusive contract, has like if it has a clause, like an escape clause, or if it has an expiration, because it becomes.
It does have an expiration, but I think that's at least 3 years away. Now,
I mean,
really,
hey,
the NFL,
3 years.
The NFL
if you think about it, 3 years flies. So 2K was smart.
Well, at least
They
I don't
could
know
get their
when. I don't
game
know
back.
when that contract is up. I really don't. I saw it and I completely forgot, but I know it's at least 3 years. Maybe somebody will
I
fill
mean,
us in on it
if that's
later.
the case, it's worth the wait because 2K could literally swoop back in there. They could put the side-by-side comparison in there, and we could get that going. We could finally get a good football game back. And if anyone else out there is like a true like 2K like a Madden 2K like fan, they'll do it because we all remember MLB 2K. That was a total flop. I mean, it was good. It was okay, but like it didn't have like the credibility that San Diego Studios had with like MLB The Show. Like
Yeah,
it just had, like,
the show just basically took 2K off. Just basically destroyed 2K. I mean, they were rivals, and that's what happens sometimes. I mean, look what happened with NBA Live that EA made. NBA 2K pretty much destroyed them. NBA Live hasn't had a game in a couple of years because of that.
NBA Live's big heyday was like in the early 2000s. Like I remember sitting down playing NBA Live 2005. I remember playing 2002. They did make some great games, but it's like they couldn't get with the times quick enough, and I think that was like their real downfall. And it's unfortunate because people that grew up with NBA Live games kind of saw their little ember wither up, but it was just like it really is like the hard. It is like it's the dog eat dog world situations. But on like the don't want to spend too much time with it. So like another question I kind of had like involving like sports gaming is like we already talked about like a little bit about like how microtransactions have kind of played it, but like really how have they? Some people don't see it as a plague, and then some people do. So like really what I'm trying to ask here is how have microtransactions been a plague? Have they really been like to the sports community, have they really been like a plague, or have they been more of like a saving grace for some franchises?
So for like my opinion on like all microtransactions is that they should only be like cosmetic or like on top of, like it should be like a bonus thing. It should not be like hey, if you want to really enjoy this game, you need to buy this extra bit. Like if you bought the game, you should have the full gaming experience. So I'm not sure how microtransactions specifically in sports games work because I don't really play them, but like in Monster Hunter World, it's mostly like new hairstyles and like pendants and like things that don't really affect how you would enjoy the game. So
you could probably give more like kind of like a loot, so like how they do with like sports games and everything.
I don't know.
I have played Monster Hunter. I know it's like more like just like in-game you earn it currency, which is like how like sports games should really do it. But like DiggsGaming, you wanna
like I don't play sports games, so I don't know how it circles back.
Whenever microtransactions are in a game, I just ignore them. But this is what I'm going to say. When you include microtransactions in a game that's already $60, it's as if you're just trying to milk this for as much as you can. And I just don't like microtransactions in full price games. I just don't see why you would want to do that and why you think that's a good idea when you already have gamers spending $60 on a game. It just doesn't make sense to me. I'll never understand it. But also with microtransactions, they can just be annoying as heck, especially when you essentially have to do some kind of microtransaction in order to get a leg up on other gamers. I said it was annoying. It really is annoying. It really is. They can be one of the most annoying experiences in games when you have stuff like this. And we know how much trouble Battlefront 2 got into with all the microtransactions it had. And
well, that was because they were more pay to win. Like you were getting like actually like better, crafting materials. But like in like even Assassin's Creed Odyssey, there were like you didn't have to, like you could accelerate your gameplay if you bought into microtransactions, but it didn't really affect particularly the gameplay. And it also, I think Assassin's Creed Odyssey did it right. You can actually find like rare, I think it's called orichalcum in game, and you can use that to also buy like the cosmetic changes, and you have like weekly or daily like missions that you can go out and you can get more orichalcum and use that to buy the cosmetic things and even buy like the weapons and stuff that way. And of course, it's like a random selection every time you go and look, but it's still like, if you don't want to buy into it, you don't have to buy into it.
I'm just in the mindset of I am never going to be a fan of having microtransactions in full price games, no matter how small. I'm just never going to be a fan of that. But then again, I'm never going to do a whole lot of microtransactions. Really, on a full price game, I've never done a microtransaction before. I never plan on doing that.
Yeah.
I just will never like them.
The only game I've ever considered buying microtransactions for has been the Monster Hunter series. And that's purely because they also give out so much free DLC. They, for World and Iceborne, they put out like, I think a new map. They put out, actually, no, they didn't put out a new map for Iceborne, did they? I think it was just cosmetic hairstyles. Layered armor sets became a thing. Layered weaponry became a thing. Pendants, were added. They added so much stuff for free and new monsters and new quests and things that, hey, you're taking care of your fan base, so I'm going to reward you with microtransactions because you didn't make me have to pay for like this other stuff.
Even the Avengers game kind of does microtransactions a little bit. And like on occasion, they'll give you like the currency to get it, but most of the time you have to buy it if you want to get the cosmetics.
Yeah.
I mean, like with sports games, like it all really depends which one it is. Like for like FIFA and Madden, you can earn it, but like most of the packs that you can get, they require you to like buy into like the currency for microtransactions to actually like get those packs, which it's like DiggsGaming said, it's extremely annoying. The only like game I think that really doesn't do it as bad is NBA 2K, because you can play multiple, like with the exception of one game mode, you can play a multitude of game modes and still get the currency that you can do to like upgrade your guy, like buy packs, or like even like get like cosmetics for your guys when you're playing online with your friends, like whether it be like a park game or like or just like hanging out in the park or like going to like the events and everything. But overall, like most of the players in that community will spend hundreds of dollars to like he said, get the one up on people, because some people, or they'll spend over $60 and get like the special editions of the game to start off with like that virtual currency. Which personally, usually that's what I do with 2K, because it's kind of like almost forced my hand at this point, because there are people that will literally grind it out to be like a top overall within the first week. I actually work with one of them.
Yeah.
Which is ridiculous. We work with one of them. It's ridiculous. Like how much people will put time into this game. They'll literally like take a weekend off from their job and literally just pour it into the game to like be the best and like be the first person to reach that kind of stature in like that gaming community. It's tragic that it's come to this, but at the same time, it's also like created more opportunities for games that aren't sports games. Like,
do you think this is gamers' fault, or do you think this is a company fault? Like the company has obviously seen that people are willing to pay for this. So do you think
it all starts with the gaming company? If I know where I see where you're going with this. And that's actually like, I love that you actually asked that. It's like originally it's the company's fault for at least like implementing this kind of like marketing strategy.
Yeah.
To kind of like DiggsGaming said, like milk the gamer. But like overall, it's the consumer has the power in that situation. So it really goes both. It's really kind of like a two-sided street at that point, because the consumer has all the power. Like no one has to buy these transactions. At the same time, the gaming companies don't really make it easier, but they're still feeding the fire. They really are feeding the fire in that situation. And it's like I said, it's honestly like me and DiggsGaming probably agree on this. It's a real tragedy that has really come to that for sports gaming, because I play sports gaming for like just for the fun of actually like being able to be good at a sport at a professional level and like actually have that kind of fantasy. And then like, but at the same time, it hasn't just plagued gamers, it's also plagued athletes, because
Right.
I've actually like listened to interviews with like athletes like Charles Barkley and like people that aren't professionally in the game. They'll literally pay them like a base sum, and they'll do the same sum for every player. And Charles Barkley actually put his foot down and said, "No, man, I am this good of a player. You really need to pay these players the money they're worth." Because you
Right.
got big names, like not even if they're retired, they're still a big name. Like Shaquille O'Neal's a big name. Charles Barkley's a big name. Bill Russell won 13 rings when there wasn't even really a league, but he still won 13 rings. Like he's a huge name. Like there are so many big names in the sports world that could be or are already on the games that we play, and they don't get the payment that honestly they are deserved. Like Barkley was a trendsetter. He didn't want to play for the Sixers. He put weight to not be on the Sixers and still got there because they drafted him anyway. And he like that was his like whole milestone. But at the same time, he was a beast. Like it's and like when it comes to transactions and everything, like it's kind of like a beast that's trying to like keep its prey at bay. Like
Yeah.
if it's the power is really with the gamer, we don't have to buy the game. Honestly, I know we're not going to all start a riot and boycott 2K or Madden or FIFA or NHL, but
No, you really can't do that. But
honestly,
what you can do, actually, I have no idea what you can do.
what we can do is kind of like get on their case. Like, look, you really got to make it easier. We get like social media is a threat to these major companies.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
social media is really kind of like a really good way to like kind of get the solution going. Like microtransactions are really kind of like a play. Like what we've seen what is done to Fortnite. It's ruined parental child relationships. Like I'm gonna teach like my son to be born in April. When he grows up and gets old enough to play those kind of games, I am not gonna introduce him to Fortnite. I'm gonna put him on to actual games that are worth playing, like Call of Duty and Battlefield, because they're shooters that you can actually enjoy with your friends. I'm not saying like the battle royales and everything are kind of like a downfall to like this niche, like up to like gaming of modern day, but like there are definitely better games out there that are actually worth the time and putting your hours into than something that could maybe you'll maybe get top 10 by the end. If that makes a lot of sense. Like it's become cancerous at this point. Like with microtransactions, it's really played the community. But if they really played their cards right and they got rid of it and actually made it to where it's not on a currency system, and currency system is just something you can get, but it's overall like experience as a whole.
Like skill checks, basically, like a daily reward kind of thing.
Yeah, like kind of like a skill system. Like honestly, like for like with like my player with the my player mode in 2K, it's like you can build your currency, but that at one point they had like you get experience from actually playing the game, and then that's how you boost your scores. That's how they literally should go back to that. And I hate saying that because it was a real pain in my neck for even like going through it. But at this point, it really has become with microtransactions, it's become cancerous. Like, I'm not saying
they really have it, and this is why gamers are so mad about them, because they really have destroyed some games,
especially with like Ultimate Team game settings. Like it's like you gotta pay how much for a pack just to get like your favorite player. Like
I think it's definitely worse for multiplayer games than it is for single player games.
Well, with 2K,
definitely.
With 2K, on occasion they'll go on Twitter, and if you don't have a Twitter, it kind of creates an issue. But they'll go on Twitter and they'll release like codes you can put in to try to get free players. But even that's like it's a gamble because you're not guaranteed to get that player. You have to literally go through like a little slot machine. I was lucky enough last year to get a pink diamond, which is like the higher tier on 2K's my team. Get a pink diamond Kobe. Like, and I was proud that I got the pink diamond Kobe because not only was it a pink diamond for my team, but it was my favorite player. But there are also gamers out there that want to get their favorite player, but they're not in the game because they're not, like I said, they're not going to pay them what they're worth. And some people are some players like former and retired are taking a stand against it. And it's something they really got to get their head around. Like, not everyone's gonna submit. we have people that are dogs that are still fighting the fight, and we're not going to stop barking. And
All right.
it's one of those things. Um,
All right, what's your last question?
The last question kind of like ties into the microtransaction thing. I really like kind of like building my questions around sports. Around kind of like a movie. I like having a plot with it, kind of like having a continuity with it. And we kind of already talked about it already. What are like some things, like what can sports gaming companies do that could brighten the negatives of the community? Like obviously like microtransactions, like gameplay.
Let me start this off because this is something that every single person has said. Do not just release a game every single year. If all you're going to do is a few minor upgrades and a roster update, then just have one game that you put out that you're going to support for a few years with those minor upgrades, with those roster updates, and just focus on making games a few years in between. That way you can have new features. That way you can do new things that will make gamers want to buy your games even more.
You, for the mini roster updates, would you allow like a $5 price tag? Like they buy the original game.
That's actually that they actually do that. They kind of do that already. They
do.
Like I think like Madden. I don't know if they still do it. Or like I don't know if they still do it, but I know Madden at one point like you could keep like the old game, but you had to pay a fee to get like the new roster. And you're still kind of milking the gamer at that point.
Yeah.
But like
you're also like adding stuff.
Yeah, like Grand Theft Auto. I'm gonna bring Grand Theft Auto up just because it's a really good example of this. Like since their base, they had updates that added new music. They've added new cars. They've added new businesses that you can acquire on GTA Online.
Yeah.
And overall, like you can get like you don't have to invest in the microtransactions, but you could literally, if you know how to work the system, get enough money in your online accounts to where you could legitimately legitimately have like billions of dollars in your account, like of currency. But like at the same time, they should kind of like they don't, and it's all free content. It's legitimately all free content. Like they should kind of go that route to where like, yes, let's keep it a base game, but at the same time, like let's like update the music like once in a while. Like they should go the route that Rockstar does with Grand Theft Auto. This is why people invest so much in Rockstar games, because you're gonna get the free content when it comes out. You're gonna get the updates immediately, and you don't have to pay a thing if you don't want to. They leave it completely in the gamer's hands.
Yeah.
They should really go the route that Rockstar does with their games, because you can earn currency the old-fashioned way, and you don't have to pay a cent. You can. Go on.
But you don't have to.
Exactly.
Anything you want to add to this, KB? Any thoughts that you have?
I mean, you pretty much covered everything, and even Jojo did. How you don't need to make a game every year, and I think it would honestly benefit companies just in general to not make a game every single year if you're not going to add anything new to it. Just,
like one more thing I forgot to add.
Calm down, kind of.
One more thing I forgot to add, like even like new modes. Like Madden even did that. Like they added like a new mode in Madden 20, like right in the middle of the Dead Hard season. Like if you like
I said at the beginning, like have like toggleable like anti-gravity mode or like extra gravity or like
big head mode.
All rules are
big
off
head mode.
Kind of thing, where you can like
big head mode. Or my favorite, mascot game. Bring back the mascot games. Like it was I know you can't really do it with NBA, but I mean at the same time, at least kind of make it an option, because it's like they actually added big head mode to like NBA 2K. They actually did. They have it on like on occasion. You have big head mode going on, and I love that they do it because it reminds me so much of NBA Jam. But at the same time, like for like the games like football, anti-gravity mode. Like you can jump higher and it looks cool. Like add add like a speed mode, add like a turtle mode. So like you really have to really like get your timing right. Or if you really want to get fun,
Add field
Like-
hazards.
Yeah.
like add power ups, or my personal favorite, mascots, because fans recognize the mascots just as much
Yeah.
as
There
they
are
give the
so many
mascots on the
things that
things.
you can do to add to these games that will make people want to buy them, and yet they don't do that.
Yeah. I think they just want to keep it. I don't know if they want to keep it like serious, but like,
Like,
it's a game. Like, you
Don't
Jojo
can
always
play
have to
off
be
of it.
serious. If you make a
Mhm.
game too serious, what's the
It
point?
becomes a
boring.
job.
You're
It basically becomes a job.
exactly, exactly.
And then it takes the enjoyment factor out of it. Like
Yeah.
that's
Mhm.
why we play. Like that's why we play games like Monster Hunter. We play games like Mass Effect, Halo.
This is why I
Final
like playing Hot
Fantasy,
Shots Golf 3 because golf.
Minecraft.
Oh,
No, you're fine.
this is why I
Christian,
like
you
playing
wanna
Hot Shots Golf 3. I mean, golf is supposed to be one of the more serious sports out there, and you're supposed to keep quiet throughout the entire time. But the way that they made the game, it was fun to play because you had those silly moments, and that's just why I had so much fun playing it. It was a golf
Yeah.
game, but it was a fun golf game.
Exactly.
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 Games don't have to imitate real life. Sometimes,
Yeah.
or what's the quote?
Sometimes
Life imitates art, or art imitates life, or something
little
like
bit of
that.
both. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
both of
something
those.
like
I think
that.
they're both quote.
Like,
those
games
two
don't
different
have to
quotes.
do that.
Like it's a gaming experience is supposed to be to bring endorphins to the inner fantasy.
Yeah.
Like you're like have some fun. Like it's been a while since we had a good sword fighting game.
Right.
Yeah.
And like sword fighting games are like kind of taking a hit for that. Like, can we get like I don't know? Can we get like a 47 Ronin? Can we get like a John Wick game? Like, I would love to have a John Wick game. I'd like to be like play a game with like where I'm a mercenary. I know Hitman kind of does that already. To kind of have like the golden egg of the batch there, but like, come on, I want to be Baba Yaga. But honestly, I'm glad we touched on a lot of good points here today, guys.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Glad that we really got to like. If any sports fans are out there, please subscribe. Share it with your friends. Give us click that little like because it gives us. We want that clout. But that's definitely gonna be it for today, guys. I am Jojo.
Diggs Gaming.
KB Hunting.
Don't
And
forget
this
to
is-
like, comment, subscribe. Have a good day, guys.
And don't
See
forget
ya.
to click that bell for the notifications.